Hello and welcome back to my series where I go through all the different characters from Zombicide Fantasy that I own, explain what they do and what role they are often is put into. And today we're talking about Casey Jones from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Timecrash expansion. And to be honest, he's probably my least favorite of all the characters from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because I don't feel like he's playing very much different from so many other characters, even with his very interesting level 1 skill. So let's get into it. First skill is improvised weapon combat. Now this skill took me a long time to figure out how it actually worked, but basically that he can make an attack with no weapon that uses the stat strat that are in your in the rules. That can both be a small range attack or a close-up attack, which I find very interesting in general, but the problem with it is it does not really scale as well as many others, because it's basically meant to be an extra attack, but since you don't add a weapons modifier to it, it's really don't come off as a normal good attack. Like, you can make don't add a lot of die to it. You cannot generally I don't think it's a very good skill. I rather prefer just a free melee action or free range action in general. So yeah, this skill kinda, I think it's the reason I don't like him very much, because it just makes him feel like a worse character in combat than most other characters. Now that being said, it's a fine skill indeed, because the more actions you have in a turn, the better, and a free combat action in the start of the game is really good. So yeah, while I think it's not the best skills, it's a fine skill, but I think he really needs the levels to become what I consider good. But I think it's very funny that it is, because it's like he's just hitting like a stone or anything, like he does in the cartoons and comics, which him using improvising weapons constantly. Now in level 3 he have a choice between shop or bloodlust melee, and it's actually two different skills entirely. Now what bloodlust melee does is, and I'm just going to double check it to make sure, because I am very good at remembering. Yeah. By using one action, they can move up to 2 zones and make a free melee attack, which I think it's a very good skill to get him into combat. And if he has the build for it to be one of your more stronger characters, it's probably it's a really good skill. But I actually think shove is a little better, because what shove does is, for free once per turn, if he stands in a zone with a zombie, he can move them out of the zone. So it's a really good skill to both keep abominations and other zombies, or if you fail to eliminate all the zombies, to keep you a little bit more safe than most other skills. So I really have come to appreciate shove. So I would probably say that this is probably the stronger of them, but if he's like your main damage dealer, bloodlust melee is also a really good skill. Now that moves him on to his level 4 skills, and you just need to focus a little bit. Where the first one is he gets +1 damage melee, and what this does is, when you look at their weapons, you can see they have a damage value right here. You simply +1 to this one. So in this case, normally he is able to deal with things like brutes, and but with this one he can come up and deal with things like abomination, dealing 3 damage. And if you have a 1 damage weapon, I don't have one in my vicinity. 2 seconds. No, god damn it. But if you have a 1 damage weapon, he can get up to deal 2 damage to deal with the brutes. So it turns some weapons that you're normally skipping over into really a strong weapon. Now, his next skill is actually one of the reasons why I said that I don't like his improvised weapon combat, because this is one free combat action, which is basically the same as this one, but you get to use your weapon with all this modifier. So this skill is just a lot better than his level 1 skill, which is normally the case that they have to get stronger. But even so, it's just a really good skill, just an extra attack, meaning he's a very, very aggressive character if you build him like that. But I do think jump is a little bit better. What jump does is basically, once per turn, you can spend 1 action to move up to 2 spaces. And even if there's a zombie in the zone, you don't stop. Like if you would have used a skill like sprint, you will have to stop as soon as you meet a zombie. But here, you can simply jump over the zombies, really giving this, giving him a lot of mobility. So, like if you want to build him complete mobility with bloodlust melee and jump, he suddenly can be everywhere. But jump also is a good skill to just cross distance that you think like jumping into a fray and then shove them out if you want to. So I really, really like jump as an ability. Now keep in mind that you cannot turn corners with it because, well, it's a jump. Please focus. So I personally think it's a really good skill. I would probably take +1 damage melee because I play with so many abominations normally that it's just what I really need most of the time. Now his special weapon is the Casey hockey stick, which is a fairly simple weapon until you pick up an pizza token or ultimate token, and it turns into his ultimate hockey stick, where it's still actually just a basic weapon, but he can recuperate the key to use the turtle powers. And I've learned over the time that turtle powers is really what makes them so much different from all the other from the expansion, and I really, really like that idea of it. And having a weapon that simply, if you are rolling on a 6, you don't need to spend a turn recuperating the chi points. It's really, really good. But all in all, it's not an wow weapon, and I think it's literally the only change. Oh, it's also got a little better at hitting. So I think he is probably one of the weaker of these characters that came out in the expansion, and his role is basically either to be the savior or melee character of the party. So generally, I think he's an interesting character because I'm probably missing something with my playtesting, and he could probably be one of the better characters if you're getting the right gear for him. But personally, I just prefer using the turtles because they are using the skills and to improve the turtle power team. So it's feel like a lot different than playing with something like Samson and Clovis or. So yeah, generally I think he's an interesting one because I do kind of like him, but again I cannot defend the fact that his level 1 skill is such a specific one. Now it's nice that he has a range skill at level 1, but yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one. Now, if you look at his model, it's basically the same one as his picture, where you can see he has some weapons on him, but also his famous hockey stick. And while I do like the figurine, I just think that he is a little half-baked compared to some of the other characters I have talked about. So yeah, I hope you enjoy and have a nice day.